Thank you for joining us today. Today's topic is children. Children in need of a permanent home. There are thousands in South Florida alone, kids who have been dealt a bad hand. They come from families that have abused them or just can't take care of them. There are so many people trying to help these kids nationwide and here in South Florida. One of them is our friend Gia Tutelo-Mote. Her organization is Forever Family. Welcome back.
Hey, Ron. Thanks for having me back.
It's always great to see you. Joining us also is Andrea Moore. Andrea is the former executive director of Florida's Children First program. That's through the state of Florida, correct?
No, that's a not-for-profit child advocacy organization.
Okay.
And I led them for 5 years and then went into semi-retirement so I could volunteer for groups like Forever Family.
I was thinking of a different state organization, and it probably doesn't come to mind what it is. Gia, let's start with you. You're actually kind of a one-man band. You got into this quite a few years ago about trying to find homes, permanent homes. You call them Forever Families for kids. How did this all come about?
This all came about, oh boy, back in '95. I began volunteering in an emergency shelter for children who had been removed from their homes due to abuse, neglect, and abandonment. And Ron, I could just never forget what I saw there. You know, kids who were hurt most by the people who were supposed to love them the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, something that resonated in my heart, and like I said, I just could never walk away from that. And I found myself at NBC6 in 1998. And it was around the time when Elian Gonzalez was here, and everybody was fighting over Elian.
Mm-hmm.
This was getting closer, I guess, 99, 2000. And one day I was in a news meeting, and I just said, look, I feel very bad for Elian, but did you know that there are thousands of kids in our own community that nobody wants? We never show them on the news. Nobody talks about them. Nobody's fighting for them. Why don't we start a program to raise awareness about these children? Because it was something that needed to be done.
Yeah.
And Don Brown, who was the president of the station at that time, said, put together a pilot, get it funded, let's see what you can do. We launched in 2002. Children's Services Council of Broward County has been our main sponsor for all these years and our primary supporter. And since then, I've now expanded to include 7 television stations in Florida.
Wow.
We receive over $5.5 million in free media time each year to do stories on children who need homes or children who are aging out of foster care without a family, and just on and on and on. We've branched out now to work with kinship groups. We have a group called Bella's Group. Just in Broward County alone, Ron, there are over 30,000 children being raised by their grandparents or other relatives.
We talked about that before we really started recording this program, and that's astounding.
It is astounding.
30,000 children in Broward County who are being raised by their grandparents.
Correct. Yes. And you know what? If the grandparents or another relative hadn't stepped up to the plate, these would be more kids in our system.
Wow.
So now we're reaching out to them by hosting support groups and parties for the kids. It actually was started, this Bella's Group, which is an umbrella, falls under Forever Family, was started by 9 and 11-year-old girls who are being raised by their grandmother, who happens to be a wonderful woman in our community. Many people know Marietta Glazer and her husband, Dr. Ira Glazer. So we help them now, kinship groups, and we help kids aging out. And now we're involved in education and child safety prevention and on and on and on and on. Because in my mind and in the hearts and minds of many, who are more important than our children?
It's fascinating. I got an email yesterday from my daughter in New York City, and there was a story on one of the city websites about a pit bull that a young man found. He was a scout for locations for show business video shoots and movies, and on that terrible snowstorm in New York City just the other day, the latest one, he was driving over one of the bridges going into Manhattan, and there was a pit bull tied to the bridge, and the dog would have died out there. He took the dog home, put it on the website, had over 5,000 responses.
Yep.
The dog has found a home. Somebody took the dog who did not have a dog. They had a couple of children, and they do have a home outside of New York City where the dog can have a yard. And I emailed her back, and I said, wouldn't that be fascinating if somebody did that in New York City about children?
Right. It's true.
and what could be accomplished. But that's
Yeah.
what you do.
That's what I do. But I always say that. I always say to myself, every time I'm on a shoot now, and I've been doing this over a decade, when
Yeah.
I meet these kids, I say, how could this be America? How could this little sibling group not have a family? I just don't get it. And when I talk to people, I say, well, if you were driving down the road,
Yeah.
and this is an analogy I use often, and you saw a child on the side of the road, would you not stop and pick up that child and take it home? But you know what? It's sort of an out of sight, out of mind thing. And that's what, Forever Family, we reach, gosh, I think our media impressions are something like 50 million a year, which means people see Forever Family and our children,
Right,
that
right.
many times. And then just in the past couple of months, I think we've had over 103,000 video views on foreverfamily.org. So people are seeing it and people are responding. And not everybody's going to adopt. I understand
Sure,
that.
sure.
Not everybody is in that position, although it is free and college is paid for and health insurance is paid for.
We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later.
But there's a way, like I said, for everybody to help.
Yeah.
Everybody, and if you're not helping children, then help somebody, or something. But there is a way to help, and the internet and the power of the media is profound.
It really is. Before we go any further, tell me about the award from the U.S. Department of Human Services.
Yes,
For Forever Family.
Yes, just recently I was in Washington, D.C. to accept the Adoption Excellence Award from the United States Department of Health and Human Services and the Children's Bureau. And I was nominated for that award by a woman by the name of Nicole Redford, who's with Children's Home Society in Palm Beach County. And Forever Family, there were 9 people honored at the ceremony. And Forever Family was the only media organization that was honored. And we have been recognized as the only media organization in the nation doing what we're doing. So pretty exciting. And we also received a congressional award shortly before that, the Congressional Angels in Adoption Award. Congressman Alcee Hastings nominated me for that.
And you found a new ally here in the state of Florida with the new lieutenant governor.
Yes, the new Lieutenant Governor, Jennifer Carroll, was adopted herself. So when she learned about what we were doing and one of the initiatives, which we're going to speak about shortly,
Yeah.
she said, what can I do? And she's been very gracious. She's a wonderful woman who really has a heart for children.
Andrea, how did you get involved with first of all, with Forever Family and just in general with helping kids?
Well, I became involved with Forever Family when I saw their spots on TV.
So you were one of the responses that she was talking about.
Exactly. And I was taken with the power of the Forever Family voice on the TV shows and how moving her spots were. Then I started talking to Gia, and we worked together on a lot of issues. And when I had time, I became a bigger volunteer, and we've been able to do some things together. And she just has a way about her and the organization that I believe makes a difference for our kids, and it's worth my time to do that.
Now, you're a lawyer. Your occupation, how does that apply to helping out with Forever Family?
That's a good question. Sometimes Gia will get a phone call and a family will have a legal question about something about their adoption or something about a child that they care about, and she'll email or call me and I'll try and answer that individual question. Sometimes it's doing things that are out of my comfort zone, like being here on the radio today.
She's doing okay so far.
Sometimes it's helping with ideas, and I don't mean to skip ahead, but ideas like everybody's a teacher.
Yeah.
And what I did there was I had an idea that we needed to change the message if we were going to engage people in getting children in foster care an education.